Hundreds comparing instruction. Hello, my name is Sarah. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to compare numbers up to a hundredths place value. You will need a whiteboard, a piece of paper, or the handout available with this lesson and something to write with. Let's get started. If you remember, there are three symbols we use. The first one is greater than, the second one is less than, and the third one is equal to. The first one with greater than and the second one less than. These two always point to the smallest number, with the mouth always open to the bigger number. We use the equal sign when the two numbers are exactly the same. Let's see how it works. If you recall, you should always start off by looking at the number of digits in a number. We will start with 234 and 68. If you look at each individual number, I see a 2, 3, and 4, and over here I see a 6 and an 8. Both 6 and 8 are bigger than 2, 3, and 4, but we need to look at the number as a whole. Here, 234 has 3 digits. 68 has 2 digits. A digit with more numbers will always be greater than the other one. Another example is looking at the numbers and the order they come in. Here we have 981 and 891. Both of these numbers have 3 digits, and both of these numbers have a 1, 8, and 9 in them. But it is different because they are in different place values. You always want to look at the first number. When both numbers have the same digits, you always look at the first one. Here I see a 9 first in 981 and an 8 first in 891. 9 is bigger than 8, so 981 is greater than 891. Well done. Finally, we should understand that the order of the numbers matters. So here we have 235 and 482. When we look at these numbers, we will look at the first digit. 4 is bigger than 2, so we'll say 235 is less than 482. We can rewrite this problem using a greater than sign. We just have to flip and trade where the numbers are. So if we put 482 first, we would switch the sign from less than to greater than. So just keep this in mind when you're writing an answer. You can write it both ways, just as long as you make sure that the correct number is in the correct place. Let's practice with a few problems. Here, we have 171, 117. These are all written out on the handout, but if you are using paper or a whiteboard, you can just put the symbol, greater than, less than, or equal to. Which one of these is bigger? 171 is greater than 117. The ones are the same numbers in the hundreds place, so they're red. We are ignoring those. The next number that we're going to compare is the 7 and the 1. 7 is bigger than 1, so 171 is bigger than 117. The next one, 607, 603. Which one is bigger? We will ignore the 6 and the 0 in both numbers because those are the same. So we'll look at the 7 and the 3. 7 is greater than 3, so 607 is greater than 603. Well done. The next one, 337, 245. Which one is bigger? We compare the first numbers. 3 is greater than 2, so 337 is greater than 245. The next problem, we have 806, 815. 806, 815, which is bigger? They are both 3-digit numbers, We can ignore the 8s because they're both 8s in the hundreds place. So then we compare 0 and 1. 0 is less than 1, so we'll say 806 is less than 815. Our next problem, 347, 370. Which one is greater? We can ignore the 3s. We'll compare with the 4 and the 7. 4 is less than 7, so 347 is less than 370. Well done. The next problem, 402 and 308. 402, 308. Which one is bigger? We compare the 4 and the 3. 4 is greater than 3, so 402 is greater than 308. Be sure to check your answers. Our next problem is 720, 658. Which one is bigger? We compare the 7 and the 6. 7 is greater than 6, so 720 is greater than 658. Well done. Remember, you should only be adding in the sign. You don't have to copy down the numbers. Here we have 637, 760. Which one is bigger? We compare the 6 and the 7. 6 is less than 7, so 637 is less than 760. Our next problem is 370, 309. Which one is bigger? We can ignore the 3s because they're both in the hundreds position. We'll look at the 7 and the 0 in the tens place. 7 is greater than 0, so 370 is greater than 309. The next problem, 182 and 186. Which one is greater? We can ignore the 1 and the 8 because they're the same in both problems. So we'll look at the 2 and the 6 in the 1's place. 2 is less than 6, so 182 is less than 186. Our next problem is 253, 452. Which one is bigger? We'll compare the 2 and the 4 in the hundreds place. 2 is less than 4, so 253 is less than 452. Our next problem is 660 and 579. Which one is bigger? We'll compare the 6 and the 5 in the hundreds place. 6 is greater than 5, so 660 is greater than 579. Our next problem is 871, 692. Which one is bigger? We'll compare the 8 and the 6 in the hundreds place. 8 is greater than 6, so 871 is greater than 692. Just a few more problems. 290 and 730. Which one is bigger? We'll compare the 2 and the 7 in the hundreds place. 2 is less than 7, so 290 is less than 730. And our last problem, 532, 548. Which one is bigger? We can ignore the 5 in the hundreds place because it is the same in both problems. So we'll look at the 3 and the 4 in the tens place. 3 is less than 4, so 532 is less than 548. In this lesson, we learned how to compare numbers up to hundreds place value. Thank you for following along.